It is Wednesday, January 20th, and welcome to Morning Coffee. I'm Adam O'Kelke, your principal, here as always with our co-host, admin assistant, Mrs. Sylvia Beyondich. We're here on a pretty cool, pretty special day in American history, as we just finished watching the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States, and some historical significance in the inauguration this morning with the first female Vice President of the United States. It's awesome. My heart is full for all the little girls out there and all of our female students get to see the second highest office in the land now held by a woman. That's powerful, and it is one of those moments of national and historical significance among many other. I love inauguration days, regardless of the incoming president or party or politics. It's a special day in our country. It's pretty cool to witness all of the pomp and circumstance and the change and the beginning of something new, beginning of new eras. What do we have on tap for morning coffee this morning? Thank you for those who joined us and hung in with us as we paused the start of morning coffee to watch the inauguration and watch the incoming president's speech. I do know the Anchorage STrEaM Academy empowers students to be involved learners, critical thinkers, and special significance today, engaged citizens who are inspired by the natural world. On the agenda today, we'll update you on anything important that's happening, new and upcoming things, talk a little bit about tomorrow is a big day for STrEaM. Tomorrow, it will be the first day we've got students in the building since last March. So it's pretty cool. And there's questions starting to come up as people realize that's happening and want to know how that's working. And so we'll start to address that. We have our first cohort team update of the quarter and of the new year, kicking off cohort updates, which we'll do every week, with our awesome 7th grade power team, Mr. Mosen and Mr. Perkins, teaching language arts and social studies. We'll get a quick assessment and grading update, which we plan to work in every week, so folks can learn more about how assessment and grading works at STrEaM Academy. We'll get that from Ms. Kotelman, and we'll try to launch out of here in a timely manner. So Mrs. Beyondich, tell us about some important things that are happening and coming up, please. Would you take that for us?
Sure, thanks, Principal O'Kelke. So today, I want to point out that today at 3 o'clock, we have our ski club meeting. It's a Zoom meeting, and we can get that link to you if you're interested and have not already received that link. That's today at 3 o'clock via Zoom, and our ski club plans to have its first meeting of everyone who has their permission slips in, and we can get those to you as well. They're electronic, so you can just fill them out right on your computer this morning. Tomorrow, and Mr. Mosen can speak more to that shortly. Next, in the coming up presentations, we'll have Ms. Staker and Ms. Drager from the 6th grade reporting to us next week, and the week after that, Ms. Gable and Ms. Kotelman. So we'll get 6th grade done right away. We want to point out also that we still have, there's our slide for ski club. So that meeting is today at 3. We still have coats for kids from Operation Warmth, and we need to get those coats on student bodies. They're doing no one any good being down here in our basement. We have extended the invitation now out to other East Side schools. So if you're a STrEaM student or you have a STrEaM student and they need a coat, or they even want a new coat, please call us as soon as possible so that we can make sure that your need is filled before other Eastside students' needs is filled. But we do want to get those coats onto student bodies as soon as possible. We have semester two. Our semester two planning involves our in-person learning labs and tutoring options. Our in-person learning labs, as Principal McKelkey told us, start tomorrow. They were delayed a day due to the icy weather, but they'll start tomorrow. Tutoring options will start happening the week after that, we believe. We need to get our feet under us. Please also remind everyone that you know that our lottery is already open and we already have applications in there. But our best advertising is our word of mouth advertising from our families. So if you just extend that invitation out, we would be very grateful. Principal McKelkey, it's all you now.
Thank you. I'm glad that you were going through those important upcoming events and items, because my connection, I normally have really good, really strong connection at home, but my connection has been spotty this morning and it has dropped me offline 3 times already today. So in the middle of you sharing that important information, I got booted off for a second. So I'm glad it was you. Be prepared to take over for me today. All right, what do we have next? We have 2 of our outstanding STrEAM Academy teachers. They are teaching 7th graders this year, and they have the cohort that is doing language arts and social studies. We have Mr. Mosen and Mr. Perkins, and we're going to do a quick check-in with them and see what they've been up to and what they've got planned. I will turn it over. Mr. Mosen, Mr. Perkins, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking time to share and tell families what's happening. What do you have for us?
Hey, good morning. The first thing, yeah, it's fun to follow the new president. Kind of a tall order. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share some slides as a way to frame what we're going to say. Hopefully it'll be like 10 minutes. And yeah, I'll just start with, I'll share my screen and maybe that'll help clarify what I'm saying. And please put any questions you have in the chat box. Mr. Perkins and I have not rehearsed this. We're just really good at sharing the Zoom. So of course, Scott, jump in whenever. Just to frame it, all the 7th graders at STrEAM are taught by these 4 teachers. The Knights of STrEAM, Mr. Perkins and I, well, Mr. Beer teaches math, Mr. Holsopple science, and I'm language arts, and Mr. Perkins is social studies. If your child is with us this quarter, they had us first quarter. And then they had Mr. Holsopple, Mr. Beer second, and then they had us again third. Let's see if I could advance this. I teach language arts. Mr. Perkins teaches social studies. We fortunately both are very involved in the STrEAM athletic department. Both of us doing coaching here and launching a pretty ambitious after school sports program where we're going to have cross country running and skiing by next year. Just real quick, our schedule. Let's see if I can get that. In general, we mailed this out to parents where we have the simple schedule. We have the kids in our charge, period 1, period 2, period 3. And within those, there's a more detailed schedule. So if your child is letting you know, or if you're curious where they need to be, look at the email we sent you. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Now I wonder if I can get back to, no, that's not it. Let's see. There we go. In my language arts class, this quarter we're doing more than half the quarter on a literary analysis and focusing on the book Two Old Women. We've had a chance to do some background research on indigenous people of Alaska. And I've been reading it out loud with the students. They all got the book, looks like this. See me. They all got books along with some of their elective materials in a package that everyone picked up, which was really nice. And we will also do a unit on public speaking. And I'm going to move on from that. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Perkins, social studies class, he's doing geography. Mr. Perkins, I'll let you speak a little bit to that.
Sure. So this quarter we'll be doing geography. Right now we're looking at latitude and longitude, and then the 5 themes of geography. Just kind of an introductory to what geography is and how it applies to all of us. Following this first unit, we'll then do a little deep dive into Alaska geography, and again, kind of touching on the same topics that Mr. Moses is doing, a little natural history of Alaska, along with the people and places associated with it. And then we'll be exploring other parts of the world and the cool things going on around there. So that is geography.
One of the cool things about working with Mr. Perkins is we both really enjoy our elective that we co-teach, focused on our mission, that we empower students to be involved learners, critical thinkers, engaged citizens, inspired by the natural world. This quarter, we've done what 7th graders love, which is focus on themselves, and it's appropriate. And we talked to them about what careers they might be interested in, and they came up with some really cool answers. And we have responded from the enthusiasm and interest that they expressed in certain STrEAM career ideas, that we've put together a list, I think, of 5 guest speakers that are speaking to careers that were particularly of interest to the students. Mr. Perkins and I have a goal in our elective of getting students off the computer, and we've accomplished this in a number of ways. Last quarter was through photography and doing outside photography. This quarter, we've put together a couple hands-on projects, the first one being a drawing project. And I'm sorry, I don't have samples right here, but they've done some cool single point perspective drawings that I hope you can bug your child to look at. We're also going to do some bridge building, which will follow right after we do our visit with architect, which is kind of cool. We're learning some measuring, dealing with our crazy system of inches, feet, and yards, contrasting that with the metric system. And we're also looking at our park next door, Arnold Muldoon Park, and some ideas. We're working with Miss Gatlin and some of our chosen students to do some planning for that park that will enhance its use with our school. Just one of the cool things that's happened so far this quarter and will continue is we've had a vet come in. You can imagine that of our 24 students, we had probably 18 of them sitting at the Zoom with their pets. It's kind of cool. Lots of good questions. We had an Anchorage Parks expert in last week talking about our park next to us and what her work is like working for the park. And tomorrow or on Friday, we have an architect coming in, and then an audiologist, and then an occupational therapist. And that was all inspired by your children letting us know the kinds of things they're interested in. And I was surprised by it was audiologist and occupational therapist. We're there was some strong interest, and I wouldn't have guessed that. So that was kind of cool. I think that's what I have. Mr. Perkins and I will be working together with after school ski stuff, and we will be sending out more packages for parents to pick up when we, probably Monday. So because we will be doing a bridge building unit coming up, and the students will need some glue and popsicle sticks and some drawing implements that we'll be drawing some trusses and designs for that. So just be on the lookout for that. Mr. Perkins, anything I missed?
No, you did a great job, and we look amazing with our photos there.
Okay.
Mr. Perkins, do you want to, I'm sorry, well, either one of you, Coach Mosen or Coach Perkins, do either one of you want to give us an update on Ski Club?
Sure. As is often, we're looking forward to it. The weather took a turn. It started raining a couple days ago, so which is always part of the deal. But we're meeting today at Zoom, and we're meeting tomorrow at Russian Jack. And the number of items that a child needs to get together for skiing isn't small. It's a tall order. Gear, permission slips, transportation, and we're here to help. And we know there'll be a lot of questions, and we're expecting them, and we're gonna make it work. But I hope people can be patient and realize it is a big deal to get your child, to get a student outside with their ski gear on, but it is 150% worth it. And it comes back, pays back. So let's get outside, get in the snow. And so show up at the meeting today at 3, and we'll learn what we need to learn how to get outside.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Bionich, do you want to go back to our slides?
Why, yes, I do. I was having trouble sharing there. I guess you noticed that. So hold on just a second. Let me give this another whirl.
And while we're working on that, the next thing on our agenda is to check in with Ms. Kodelman. So we'll turn it over to her in just a second. Mr. Mosen and Mr. Perkins, once again, thank you both so much for your awesome work and the really cool, innovative things that you're doing with 7th graders.
Am I sharing the slides, Principal McKelkey?
Sorry about that. I was booted off Zoom again this morning. So it's been a rough ride with technology for me today, folks. I apologize.
Am I sharing the slides, Principal McKelkey?
Yes, please. Well, unless Ms. Kodelman is going to share slides, then
Ready.
we can just wait.
Oh,
I'm ready.
All right.
I got you.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. I was saying thank you to Mr. Mosen and Mr. Perkins, and we just really appreciate your work, and we appreciate you presenting. And I will turn it over to Ms. Kodelman to give us our weekly update and informational about assessment and grading at STrEAM Academy.
So I struggled with some theming ideas. I was like, do I want to do bite size? Do I want to do charcuterie board? I don't know. But I thought doppio shot fits with morning coffee. Makes sense. Metaphor stands too, because doppio shots, real small, give you a super caffeine rush. So your brain's going to be really busy. So this is about mastery at STrEAM Academy. I wanted to talk a little bit about our grading scale, but I was looking at the material and I was thinking about it, and there's some things that we need to discuss before we can get to our scale, just to set you up for success, as teachers do. So a useful definition from fair isn't always equal of mastery. And mastery is one of those concepts where you ask a room full of people, what is mastery? You're going to have different definitions. And it depends on what you're asking people to master. So this quote is really helpful. Students have mastered content when they demonstrate a thorough understanding as evidenced by doing something substantive with the content beyond merely echoing it. Anyone can repeat information. It's the masterful student who can break content into component pieces, explain it and alternative perspectives regarding it cognitively to others, and use it purposefully in new situations. Cool. Yeah, let's do that with middle schoolers. Let's do it. So here are some examples and non-examples. So these are also from the book, and these are examples from all over the place. And there's more in the book too. I'm going to start adding page numbers. If anybody wants to reference the material with me, you're welcome to. So non-examples are like students repeating multiplication tables doesn't exactly show mastery of multiplication. But what would be better is if the student can read or hear a situation that requires repeated addition and then identifies it as a multiplication issue. And then they use the multiplication properly to make their lives easier. Same thing in like sports. So not quite mastery is student using a bounce pass in a basketball game because it's not because it's the most effective, because it's the only thing they know how to do, rather than using a variety of basketball passes. And then this one's specific to grammar. Students can match parts of speech to the definition, and students can point to a word in a sentence and explain its role. You can see that what we're looking for is not just compliance or completing work, it's transference. It's a universal understanding and the ability to really take their skills into other areas of life and in a meaningful way. So this is a massive undertaking for staff and for educators. And to be honest, for students too. This is hard for students. This is not a do the assignment, turn it in, get an A. It's do the assignment masterfully across multiple examples and have conversations with teachers and see if they really understand the skill or content they're trying to learn. So as a teacher, I have to look at a standard, unpack it, break it down into specific standards and objectives within that, and then determine what I'm willing to accept as evidence of mastery, evaluate my criteria, give students feedback, track that over time. So here's a language arts example, specific one. Let's infer author's meaning. I can't just say, okay, kids, we're going to practice inferring author's meaning. Let's go. I have to break it down a little bit, especially with middle schoolers, and I teach sixth grade, so like especially with sixth graders. We have to make sure that they understand the steps in the process. So a standard that says infer author's meaning, which is just 3 words of our sometimes 25 to 30 word standards in Common Core and ASD and all of that stuff. We recognize new context clues, we identify an author's purpose, we activate prior knowledge, we make predictions rather than wild guesses, and we use background information to make sense of new material. So those 3 words imply so much more in order to achieve actual mastery, not just filling out a worksheet or circling something on a page. So that's a lot. So how do we do this? So how do we do this at STrEAM? And before I got into the mastery scale, I wanted to tell you that this is what we're trying to do. And the mastery scale is one way of doing that. So we must determine what's important and the best way to help students earn it without feeling like this little bird right here, freaking out, stressing out. So we have a ton of strategies that we do that with. We have a careful selection of standards. We have student voice and choice. I put gold standard PBL in there because our gold standard PBL or project-based learning includes so much about authenticity, regular reflection, allowing students to work together in groups, allowing them to have meaningful projects based on real life situations, and the transference of skills embedded in that gold standard PBL. We have outdoor and experiential education because if students are motivated to learn, they're going to be more motivated to achieve mastery. If they get to move around and experience the outdoors, they're going to be more ready to fill their brains with knowledge and skills. And then we have advisory and other learning supports. At least in our traditional setting, we had advisory where students would come in and get organizational help. They would work together and talk with advisors about how they can be more successful students and get more out of their schooling. So this is sort of a window into what the teachers do at STrEAM. when we're not in front of students. This is what we do in order to prepare to be in front of students. And the work is ongoing. We are still thinking about and evaluating our careful selection of standards and trying to make sure everything that we teach students is meaningful. And so some of the takeaways for parents that I want to say, because again, this is a window into the teacher's world. So parents, what can parents do about this? Now that you know this, here's what you can think about. Talk with kids about mastery. When you're talking with school, reframe the discussion about completing work. Instead of saying things like, what grade do you have in language arts? You could say, what scale are you guys working on? How do you feel about your mastery? What is the expectation for mastery? See if they are aware of that. And then if they aren't, we can go to the class and see what it is. And if it's unclear, they can figure out the right questions to ask, to have that conversation with their teacher and engage in that. And then consider ideas in your life where you might try to achieve a little bit more sophisticated understanding alongside your kids. As I'm going through this process of teaching and trying to get students to achieve mastery, I realized that my understanding of certain concepts that I have to teach kids can be shallow in some way. And I have to go deeper in order to teach the kids how to go deeper as well. So if your kid is learning about bridge building, right? And they're trying to learn about building and architecture and all of this cool stuff, see where you can find more areas of sophisticated mastery alongside them and engage in that STrEAM mindset with them. So there's your highly caffeinated espresso shot about mastery. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to chat about this and continue this conversation. Next week, I hope to introduce you to our mastery scale and all of its glory. So thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a healthy shot of espresso. There is so much to learn and to wrap your head around when it comes to the research and information behind assessment and grading. And I appreciate you doing the work, Ms. Kotelman, of each week of giving us a little bit more to chew on in terms of assessment and mastery. Important concept. Thank you. What else do we have? Yeah, we'll see you next week, and we look forward to learning more about mastery and about that whole big ball of wax. I think it was nice for you to point out. I appreciated that you pointed out the behind the scenes work that, what parents and even students see as kind of a surface view of grading and mastery assessment, and that there's a ton of deep level work that goes on with teachers and staff, under the surface of that. Something we've worked really hard on for 5 years now is developing our grading scale and a more shared and commonly understood definition of what mastery is and how these concepts apply at STrEAM. So a lot of work, a lot of heavy mental lifting that's going on by our staff. Thank you. We have next on our agenda a chance to check in with our counselor, Ms. Bonertz, and say good morning to her and to see what she would like us to share. I know that she might want to tell us where we're at with iReady assessments. And I just sent Ms. Bonertz, you probably don't even have your email up. I just sent you some news about the statewide school climate connectedness survey that I got this morning as well. But I don't expect you to be ready to talk about that. If you're not, that's okay. What do you have for us today, Ms. Bonertz?
Yes, the iReady window closes on Friday. We still have a small handful of 7th and 8th graders that still need to finish either their math or their reading or both of their iReady diagnostics. It does close on Friday. It's especially important for our 8th graders because it gives us another data point, and it gives their high school teachers another data point to help them and their counselors determine placement for next year. So please encourage your students to do that. And if you're not sure if they finished, please inquire with me. If they've not finished, I have sent emails. And then 8th grade parents, this Friday, I am doing a presentation with our 8th graders, just kind of what to expect in high school. It's going to be a lot of information. They're going to be on information overload for briefly on Fridays. So get that conversation started with them. We're going to have a counselor from East and one of our parents, also First Sergeant JROTC teacher, Sergeant Watts, coming to give some information about that program, give some information just about high school in general, really. So 8th grade parents, be sure you're having those conversations with your students. It sounds like some of them are nervous, which is just to be expected. So those conversations being started early is good to kind of relieve any tension or anxiety that might be building up as the year winds down. We're almost there, I feel like. I mean, Christmas just happened, summer's around the corner. So yeah, that's it for me. iReady and 8th graders, start thinking about next year.
Yes, exciting. As scary and nervous and exciting. The question I get asked, the two questions I get asked the most every year by 8th grade parents are, number one, why can't you guys extend STrEAM through high school? Which I'm always so honored by. Like, thank you so much that you want your child to stay with us after 3 years or however long you've been with us. Right now, our charter is very specifically dedicated to being a middle school. The second most common question is, where are they supposed to go now? And I see Mrs. Reynolds, who is one of our awesome parents, popped into the chat and said, yes, exactly my question. Why can't we extend through high school? That's a process that our APC has considered, that's been on the table and would be a discussion at the APC level. It'd be great to be involved that way, especially now that our APC is involved in visioning with Dr. Sturm of the UMI project, where we have just begun the process of developing a strategic plan. And so we invite parents and our staff to be a part of that process. We had staff attend the APC meeting last week, and we have parents on the board, but all parents can be a part of that. I personally don't, and it's not my decision. This could change. Being the principal, and having started the school and guided us for 5 years, I don't see us ever changing to where we're not just a middle school, because that seems so central to the founding vision of the school. But like I said, that's not 100% final. That could change depending on the direction the APC goes. But what I do see as a possibility is eventually forming a group and writing a charter and developing a 9th through 12th program that is similar to and a logical transition bridge to STrEAM Academy. The closest thing we have right now, and Mrs. Reynolds, I'm going to get to what you're asking, which is where do we go? And Amy, jump in here too, and Sylvia, because you guys have a lot of knowledge on this topic. Our neighborhood schools that we feed into the most are Bartlett and Diamond, and they have Bartlett and East, sorry, and they have some outstanding programs. Our students have universally reported back doing really well at Bartlett and East. They have great programs. Some really good things to offer, and we're fortunate that a lot of our former students check back in with us in 9th and 10th grade and 11th grade, and they stay in touch with us. They pop in after school. They do well over there. We also send a significant number of kids over to Highland Academy after they leave STrEAM. And Highland, if you're looking for something, Highland's probably the closest thing we've got right now to STrEAM, in that they are a small charter school that they really individualize student learning in a way that's different from us. It used to be called standards-based. They use the term competency-based more now. It's a system I'm really familiar with. 11 years in Lake and Penn School District was the same system educationally, the competency-based, where you move at your own pace through standards and through levels. And so you can move through levels or grades more quickly, which Mrs. Reynolds might be a good fit for someone like you who's got a very, very bright and hardworking child, that competency-based system, one of the biggest benefits, if you see it as a benefit, is you can graduate early. You can work through, you're not held by, well, I'm in 9th grade and I have to do 9th grade classes. I'm in 10th, I have to do 10th. You can work through at an accelerated pace and then get into college classes and look at that. So we recommend Highland Academy highly. I think they have a great program. And in terms of small school, small classes, in terms of having a great principal who loves their kids and takes good care of people, we think they're the most like us. Amy, what would you say to 8th grade parents on terms of where do I go? Those are my first three.
Yeah, so East Bartlett and like you said, Highland are our biggest feeders. But, you know, if you have the opportunity to be able to kind of shop around, maybe you work on the west side or something like that, or you work out in Chugiak or something, all of the Big 8 high schools have really good programs within their schools. Bartlett, for instance, has a health academy. So students who are really interested in health careers can take some medical terminology and things like that. They also have a construction academy. I think West has a tech academy. So there's lots of really cool options all over the district. Yeah, Stellar's a great program. We have a lot of students that go there, Polaris. So there's just a lot of options out there. And so what I would suggest, if you are zoned for a school and that's not really the school that you're thinking for your student, I would definitely start reaching out to some of the other high school counselors and just what's great about your program? How can I get to your program if we decided to go here? So lots of good options out there. Actually, ASD has some pretty cool options out there for our kids too. And then upperclassmen, I know it's not KCC, King Tech Career Center is also a really, really cool way for students to get some on-the-job training while earning credits and graduating. So lots of great options in the district.
Definitely. Thank you, Ms. Bonertz. I concur with what you're saying and what Mrs. Bionich is saying, which is if parents, if you're looking at the Big 8 high schools, look at their school within a school programs, their smaller tracks, their academies. You've had with us a chance to be a part of a small school and small classes and those tight, close-knit groups that stay together. And there's so much value in that. And so I think that's a lot of parents and even students fear in moving into our big high schools that, you know, there are literally thousands of kids there. And to me, as an adult and a principal, that's overwhelming. And so there's a reason why I've never gone that track and gone to be an administrator of a big program, and I never will. It's just the idea of having 2,000 kids is daunting, and it's so hard to see how you replicate what we're able to do in a small program with the tightness, the close knit way that we do business. And so they do an incredible job with having 1,000 or 2,000 kids, but I can see that that's a factor in a lot of parents worries and their decisions. So look at those programs, talk to Ms. Bonertz, go on the website. Mrs. Bionich is super knowledgeable about this stuff as well. Look at those small medical academy at Bartlett, the school within a school programs, those the programs Ms. Bonertz mentioned. Look at those smaller tracks and academies within the Big 8 high schools. And like Ms. Bonertz said, she'll be sharing with 8th graders. We will feature this topic on Morning Coffee coming up, in the coming month or so. And so we'll keep working with you on this. Thank you, Ms. Bonertz, for sharing. The information that I got this morning is that this school district is planning to go forward with the school climate and connectedness survey for students, staff, and parents. It's been tweaked to have questions that are more fitting to education within, a pandemic. And so the survey window will open February 22nd and run through March 26th. And we will provide remote access and remote links for doing this. This is a survey that parents, I'll send a lot more information out on. This is one I really encourage everyone to participate in because it's really, I feel really valuable and really important data. It tells me and our board and our staff where we're at with our school climate. It tells us how we're doing with that emotional, social, emotional, and relationship, and structure and support piece. We often in education do a whole lot of gathering of data on how students are doing academically, which there's value for, maybe a little overdone, and hoping maybe the pandemic gives us pause to reset and reconsider some of the broad, like statewide standardized testing. But there's value in testing like MAP testing and iReady, where we get this snapshot where students are at in, especially in reading and math, those core foundational skills. But a piece we sometimes neglect in education is, really sort of the cart before the horse, right? Is that social, emotional school climate, how students feel. Do you feel safe and cared for and valued? And this survey is that one thing that gives us that real data on how we're doing. And to be honest, I say this every year, it drives a lot of my decision making, and I push that to the board level. It drives, as a staff, it drives our goal setting every year. Ms. Kodelman can tell you, having been with us all 5 years, like, and Mr. Perkins as well, if he's with us still, like, we have set goals every year based on that data. And we had one year in particular where our school climate really kind of hit a low point for a number of reasons. And I'm so proud of how our school responded to that. Well, we came back and really pushed on those areas that were, not strong, and said, we're gonna do this better. We're gonna build relationships even stronger. We're gonna build an even stronger culture of respect. And so it's a super important data collection for us. What else do we have on the agenda, Miss Beyondich?
Sorry, my radio went off crazy. What did you ask me?
What else do we have on the agenda this morning?
We had Ms. Bonertz for a quick check-in after Ms. Kodelman, and then that was all that we had on our agenda, our official agenda. We did a really good job slimming it down to 45 minutes today in respect for the historical events that happened at our nation's capital. So good job, everybody. Yeah,
good job. Great job. Thank you again, Mr. Perkins, Mr. Mosen. Love it when you guys share. I love all the cool things you're doing. So enjoyed watching you guys work together as a team this year, genuinely, seeing the things that you've done, and how we're sitting in front of computers and we're not able to get outside, yet you guys have really intentionally worked in that outdoor and community-based piece. Mr. Perkins with the photography project that you worked with, getting kids to share their pictures and look at places that are special to you, and kind of bridging that into, how do you protect the places that you love, and, looking at the outdoors and our community through that lens, I think was a really cool way to look at it. I think I often look at that community engagement piece and the outdoor ed piece, the sort of bigger picture, like, why should we care about the whole thing? And I love Mr. Perkins and Mr. Mosen, how you guys kind of took it down to that real personal, like, what's a place that's special to you? Because that really helps kids to build that understanding, that connection that they might not necessarily have with the broader community and environment right off the bat. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate the cool, innovative things that you've done very much. And then Ms. Kodelman, thanks again, for that ongoing look for us, with us at grading, and Ms. Bonertz, thanks as well. Anything for the good of the order? Final questions, thoughts?
We need everybody to dance for snow for the ski team. So that's super important today. We need to get rid of this rain, and we need to dance for snow. We may have dance happening at 11 o'clock. We'll know more later, and Ms. Kodelman will send out a message It's scheduled, but it might cancel. So we'll see. If it cancels, make sure everybody dances for snow on their own. We have that 3 o'clock Zoom meeting today with everybody for interested in participating in Ski Club. And we have the permission form that needs to be filled out that was shot to everybody's email address that responded to the first inquiry for Ski Club. So call us if you need more information.
Awesome. I think that's a good wrap for morning coffee today. Great work, everybody. Dance at 11, hopefully. And I will be there for the ski team meeting at 3 o'clock. And that's it for morning coffee. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, parents who are with us. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds. Thank you for anyone and everyone who was watching on YouTube with us.